Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Ireland, and this time we're going to go to Wicklow, which is about an hour or so to the south of Dublin. And this is another brewery who I've never tried anything from, so quite curious to see how this turns out. For this one we are going to go to Brother Brewing, and we're having a taste of the Rainmaker, which is their IPA, coming in at 7% ABV. So this is supposed to be a pretty good beer. The brewery are very distinctive for their artwork actually. It does remind me a little bit of Magic Rock in some ways when I think about it, but hopefully this is another good beer. I know that the Irish beer scene has really been kind of kicking off over the last couple of years, so it's great to see that Irish beer is finally getting out there, because you know, for a very long time it was just, you know, Irish beer was pretty much like gold dust, but now you can get them in pretty much any of the good beer shops in Glasgow, so that's pretty cool. Thank you to Paul for this beer actually. He gave this one to me to review on the channel, so I hope he enjoys this review as well, and I'm very curious to see how this one turns out. So yeah, so as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I'll do in the future from Brother Brewing. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, as I mentioned. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Irish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. The support you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brother Brewing then. So Brother Brewing are based in Kilcoole in Wicklow, and they were founded by the three O'Neill brothers back in 2014. So the three brothers behind the company are Barry, Paddy and Brian, and they're originally from just up the road in Bray. But the three brothers had homebrewed together since 2011, and they'd visited various beer festivals before actually deciding that they wanted to go professional and set up a company together. So Barry came from a background in accounting, Paddy was a surveyor, and Brian had worked in landscaping, and he was actually the first one to go full-time with the brewery. But apparently in the early days they received a lot of advice and also funding from the Wicklow Local Enterprise Office, and they got the brewery fully up and running in 2014. But over the last few years they've gradually built up the capacity of the brewery, and they've been brewing more and more different beers, and as of September 2019 they've produced around 50 different types of beer according to Untappd. And from what Paul was telling me, these guys are, you know, one of the Irish breweries that are really starting to make their name, and this is supposed to be a very good beer. So like I say, curious to see how it turns out. But that's all the information I was really able to find on the Brother Brewery for just now. I'm sure there'll be more on these guys as they kind of continue to progress and things like that, but I think that's a good enough introduction for them for the moment. But yeah, as always, you can check out the brewery website in the description below, and of course you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that, and that'll keep you up to date with all the latest goings on then. So let's get on to the actual beer itself. So as I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this one is a 7% IPA. The name The Rainmaker, I guess, is coming from the film. I think it had Matt Damon in it, if I remember correctly. I think I need to watch that one again. But yeah, it comes in at 7% ABV, and it is hopped apparently with Mosaic, Citra and Galaxy. So it should be a nice mix in there. Mosaic, of course, gives you those nice juicy orangey notes. Citra gives you, is, you know, one of the original high alpha acid hops. It gives you those lovely kind of mango-y notes with a load of complexities, and Galaxy is that Australian hop with a lovely kind of passion fruity and pineapple-y qualities. But yeah, really nicely presented. This one there, you can see the Brother Brewing symbol. You can see the three circles there. Quite a kind of old Celtic design actually. I really like that. But yeah, not too much on the back here. It just says unfiltered, unpasteurised, unadulterated, drink fresh, independent to the core. Brother Brewing. So yeah, nicely presented beer, this one. As I say, the artwork on this, in some ways, it does remind me a little bit of some of the old Magic Rock ones, but at the same time it does have a little bit of that originality to it. It's quite eye-catching anyway, so hopefully the beer matches up to that. It's a black top can. Some breweries prefer to use that, and it says it's best before the 26th of the 4th, 2020. So yeah, let's get it out, and we will get on with the tasting then. So, nice little bit of smoke on the opening, and we'll get it out and into the glass. Oh, I can tell by the aroma this one It's going to be pretty good. We just need to make sure the head doesn't go too crazy on this. Now I'm curious with this one now. I was guessing that this might be a New England IPA, but going by the appearance of it, I'm not too sure, because it's not the haziest one you're going to come across, but some of them aren't. So yeah, the head on this one's gone a wee bit crazy, but we'll just let it die down a little bit. So as you can see with this one, it's poured a really nice kind of bright yellow colour. If I put my fingers behind the liquid, you can see there is a degree of haze to this one. And you know, in fairness, now that it's kind of settling a little bit, it has kind of gradually become more hazy. When it was first coming out and I saw how clear it was, I was thinking, you know, maybe is this a West Coast IPA? But definitely in terms of appearance, it looks more like a New England one now that it's settled. But one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of the head there. You could see the head was pretty big and bumpy, but it's just settling down now to be a little bit thinner and more foamy. And in terms of colour, I would describe the head as being, it's very slightly creamy in its colour. It's not perfect white, but it looks pretty nice. And I mean, this is kind of what you would expect from an IPA in terms of appearance these days. Nothing overly surprising about this beer, but the colour is definitely more of a bright yellow rather than having any orangey tint to it. But yeah, looks very, very nice. So let's take a look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this one. Ooh, that smells really good actually. So yeah, it almost, the malt base of this one, I think, comes across as very interesting. It actually has a very, it's actually very bready in its malt base, and there's something in my head, just from the way that the aroma comes across. I'm wondering if they've used German malt in here, because it really has a little bit of that, you know, German bready smoothness that you might expect of a, you know, a Helles or something like this. It really has some of those kind of vibes going on with the beer. So yeah, a lovely pale malty, white bready quality coming out of this one. I'm not sure if it's, I'm guessing there's a little bit of wheat in there, because when you take the aroma in a bit more deeply, it's definitely got a little bit of a, it definitely has a bit more of a smoothness to it the further you go into the aroma. Yeah, there's definitely a wheaty smoothness there. You can pick out a little bit of the almost kind of pungency that sometimes wheat can give you. Maybe the stringency is a better word. It has a little bit of that slightly citrusy, almost spicy quality that wheat can give you when it's in a beer. A little bit of a biscuity quality in there, some McVitie's digestive notes almost. But yeah, I'm not getting too much in the way of oaty creaminess out of this one, which is interesting. There's maybe a little bit of it at the front of the nose, but mainly to me, the malt base in this one is quite pale malty and bready. There's a bit of wheat in there, you can pick up a little bit of biscuity sweetness, but I'm not getting too much in the way of oaty creaminess out of this one. So that's quite interesting. I mean, that kind of, I'm curious to taste this one now again, because the aroma is different from what I would think of a normal New England IPA. So yeah, we'll see. We just need to see how this one goes. In terms of the hoppy side of the beer then, it's got a nice, there's a nice balance in this one. On the green side of the hops, there's a nice balance between the sort of floral and grassy elements to it. I'd say it leans a little bit more towards the grassy side of things, but you can smell that sort of floral backing that it has. There's a little touch of earthiness in there as well, which will be coming from the Mosaic. I've always found that Mosaic gives you a little bit of earthiness, but it's not overly prominent. Mainly this is a nice grassy beer, this one, but a little bit kind of, there is a little bit of a floral quality to it as well. On the fruity side of things, it is kind of what you'd expect. You've got a bit of the passion fruit in there from the Galaxy, you've got a little bit of mango from the Citra as well. You can smell the kind of fruity complexities coming out of this one too. There is a bit of a lychee kind of gooseberry thing, which is the complexity you'll get from the Citra. I'm not getting too much in the way of tangerine oranges, to be honest, which is what you should get from Mosaic. So maybe the Mosaic, maybe this is the hop list that I found in there is a little bit old or something. Either that or it's just not really coming out in the aroma. But yeah, definitely a nice, I would say a little bit of passion fruit there, but mainly lighter and juicy and mangoes. You can get a bit of pineapple out of it, which will be coming from the Galaxy, and you do get some of these lychee, slightly gooseberry notes out of it too. So yeah, overall, this one, compared to other New England IPAs, this one's quite bready, quite juicy and fruity, and it definitely leans towards the more grassy side of things in terms of the green side of the hops. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how this one turns out. So this one is the Rainmaker, an IPA at 7% ABV. from Brother Brewing in Kilcoole, County Wicklow in Ireland. Let's get stuck into this one. Slàinte, Skål, cheers. Once again, thank you to Paul for giving me this beer. Slàinte. Oh yeah, that's pretty solid actually. That's really nice. It's definitely, it's kind of, this one, it's actually a lot sort of, it definitely has a bit more of a bite to it than you would expect, going from the aroma. I was expecting this one to be really kind of smooth and really bready, but it really has a nice citrusy bite in the beginning. But that's a very, very good IPA, this one. It's actually very kind of, that sort of citrusy bite that it has makes it really quite light and quite drinkable. It gets a little bit drier in the aftertaste as well, which is quite nice. This one, I mean, compared to the other New England IPAs I've had in recent times, this is one that definitely makes you think a little bit. And I like that when you're reviewing stuff, you're always going to find things that just leans a slightly different way. And this, you know, this one is making me think a little bit. So thumbs up to Old Brother Brewing for that. They've taken a slightly different approach to this one rather than just, you know, doing what other people have done before, I think. So yeah, let's try and break the flavour of this down a little bit then. So what you're going to notice about this one is that in the beginning, you just get this citrusy bite around the kind of front of your tongue. And that lingers there for a while, but then the malt base just kind of rolls out a little bit. It just dries out in the middle of your palate and smooths out. So the malt base in this beer, I'd say that it's, you know, it definitely comes across as being a little bit, it has a bit of that pale malty base to it, but I wonder if they've used a little bit of acidulated malt in this one, because it really has that slightly kind of citricy quality to the malt base too. I was thinking there would be a bit more of a smooth wheat quality to this beer, but really it comes across as more pale malty. I do think there's a bit of acidulated malt in here. I'd be surprised if there wasn't, just going by the flavours. So yeah, nice little bit of acidulated malt in there, I'm sure. And that kind of sits in the middle of the palate too. In the very centre of your palate, you've got a little bit of a biscuity sweetness. There's something that almost gives the impression of caramel. It's got that level of sweetness to it, and I think it might just be the alcohol actually in the middle of the palate that's giving you the impression of like a really oily, very high alcohol biscuity sweetness. You can really pick that up in the middle of your palate, but as you come further out from the centre of your tongue, you start to get these lighter biscuity notes, but underneath it's quite pale malty, but at the same time you can really sorry, you can really sort of pick up the that acidulated malt that's in there. So this one's got a really, really interesting and quite unusual malt base, I have to say. It's definitely different compared to other ones that I've had before. Just stick the rest of it in. But I like it. I really do like this one. This one, it's almost got some of the... It's not quite a sour IPA, but it really is kind of like that. In fairness, it does remind me quite a bit of the... I was saying the artwork reminded me of Magic Rock a little bit, but the flavour in some ways is reminding me of the Cannonballs, the Cannonball beers that they've done. So that's kind of an interesting point to make about it as well. But maybe that's just the beer that springs to mind because I thought of Magic Rock earlier with the artwork. But I have to say, that is a really nice beer. The thing you'll notice about the mouthfeel of this as well, if they have used a bit of acidulated malt in here or something similar, what it almost does is it almost feels like your tongue has a little bit of wax on it and the liquid just rolls over that. It's a very unusual thing, but it's really nice and it gives your IPA just that big citrusy bite that you would want. So I would say to this one, if you're a fan of the Cannonballs that Magic Rock do, you will quite like this beer, I think, because it's not a million miles away from that. It does have its own kind of spin though, I would say. But yeah, this is nice there. I like the malt base. It's quite simple, but at the same time it has got a good bit of stuff to it to make you think about it. On the hoppy side of the beer then, back corners of the palate, I would say there's a little bit of earthiness in the back corners of your tongue. As you come further forward along the sides of the palate there, it starts to smoothen out a little bit and it becomes more floral and aromatic. It's not too floral and bitey, to be honest, on the front corners of your palate. But around the very front curve of the tongue, it's just that little bit lighter and grassy, and some of the floral notes start to push out of the front of your tongue the further you go into the aftertaste as well. But yeah, this is nice. Behind the front curve of the palate then, as I always say, that's where you get that little oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. So if you go to the back of that oily bubble, for me, that's where the passion fruity notes are coming out from the Galaxy in this one. So you've got that really quite strong, slightly pungent passion fruity flavour there. As you come forward from that a little bit, and there's maybe even a little bit of grapefruit in there too, in fairness, but as you come further forward from that, you start to get the juicier mangoes, almost as you're just pushing towards the tip of your tongue. You'll get the sort of tangerine oranges, but they're not too obvious. You know, you really have to look for them to come out. So to me, the Galaxy and the Citra, I think, are taking a bigger role in the fruity side of this beer than the Mosaic is, to be honest with you. But you can pick up a little bit of that tangerine orange in there. There's definitely a sort of pineapple-y quality to this one, just infused throughout all those fruits. And then if you just go behind the very front curve of the tongue, behind that, it's almost you know, there are little hints of you know, I was picking up lychee and gooseberry in the aroma, but I think in the flavour it's a little bit more lemony. To be honest, there's maybe a bit of a limey quality in there as well. So behind the front curve of your tongue, it's definitely kind of lemony and limey. And in fairness, with the way the malt base is going in this one, if it is the acidulated malt, it really, you know, that lemon limey quality that it has does suit it. I mean, I'm surprised when they've gone for acidulated malt, if it is indeed if it is indeed Mosaic, Citra and Galaxy that's in this one, Centennial might have been an interesting addition as well. I mean, with the limony flavours that are coming out of this, if I didn't know the hops that were in here, I might have guessed that there was a bit of Centennial in it. So it's kind of interesting that actually the Centennial will give you a really nice lemony, sort of almost lemon sherbety quality to your beer. But this one, to me, if I was comparing this to other sort of New England IPAs, or just IPAs generally, because I don't know, this is one of these ones where it doesn't sort of fit directly into the New England category or even the West Coast category. It's more a big sharp citrusy beer. It's got some of the elements you would maybe want from a sour beer. It's got some of the elements you would want from a New England beer, and it's also got some of the elements that you would want from a West Coast as well. It's quite a unique New England IPA, this, and as I said, if you like the cannonballs from Magic Rock, this is one that's going to suit you, but it really has a nice citrusy bite to it. So if you like your lemon limey flavours, I think this is one that's really going to suit you down to the ground. So it gets a thumbs up from me. It's definitely a different approach compared to what other breweries are doing these days, and I think they've done a nice job of it. So definitely makes me curious about some of the other beers that they've got in their roster. So yeah, have a go at this one for yourself and just see what you think. But it gets my seal of approval anyway. Cool to be able to review this one for you. It wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was expecting this to be kind of a big hazy, sort of juicy New England IPA, but it's really got a bit more of a citrusy bite to it rather than anything else. It makes you think this beer a little bit, so a bit of a longer review this one. So in terms of the mouthfeel then, I would describe this beer as being fairly mid-bodied. Yeah, mid-bodied beer. Carbonation's quite smooth in this one. The mouthfeel's got a good balance between being oily and being smooth at the same time. In terms of IBUs, I think this beer is probably somewhere around the sort of 35-40 mark, to be honest with you. It's got a nice little bit of a kind of floral aromaticity to it, and that comes out a bit more in the aftertaste. The things that really kind of come out in the aftertaste is a bit of the lemon limey quality and some of the sort of sharpness to the malt base, if you like. So I do like that about this beer. So in terms of IBUs, I think 35, maybe 40 is a good place to put this one in. In terms of the malt base, as I say, quite smooth underneath, but it does have a little bit of that kind of acidulated quality to it, which is nice. Good bit of juicy fruitiness to this one, definitely leaning towards that slightly sharper citrusy side of things. and a nice little touch of sweetness in there from the malt too. The hops, I would say, are more floral rather than anything else, but a very, very nice IPA, this one. If you like the Magic Rock Cannonballs, as I said, you are definitely going to enjoy this one. And it's cool to see a beer like this coming out of Ireland, of course, because, as I say, we didn't get Irish beers for a very long time, and now they're really starting to get out there. So big thumbs up to Old Brother Brewing for this one. I've been impressed with this. I think for my next review, I need to try something from the darker side of things, so maybe an Imperial Stout or something like that. I think it's always good to try something from the dark end of the spectrum and something from the lighter end of the spectrum when you're trying a new brewery. But this beer has impressed me, and big thumbs up to them for that. So if you're interested in Irish beer, make sure you check out Old Brother Brewing, and hopefully I can get more from these guys at some point in the future. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one is the Rainmaker IPA. It's 7% ABV, a really nice, sharp, citricy IPA from Old Brother Brewing in Kilcoole in County Wicklow in Ireland. A big thank you again to Paul for making this review possible, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's definitely cool to be reviewing some more Irish beers for you here on the channel. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Old Brother Brewing as well, and I'll catch you guys very soon with more beer reviews. You will see some more Irish reviews appearing over the next little while. So thank you again for watching. Make sure you check out my social media, and I'll catch you guys later. The Rainmaker IPA from Old Brother Brewing in County Wicklow in Ireland. Slàinte, Skull, cheers.